Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Several people sent me this story and said, Steve, you just talked about U-Haul. You just talked about U-Haul in the story about the couple when the city is trying to shut down their U-Haul business. And amazingly, U-Haul pops up in the news. So from Fox 13 out of Florida, U-Haul repossesses couple's rental, believing it was abandoned, and dumps all the belongings that were inside. So a couple had a U-Haul, they rented it, put all their stuff in there, in the process of a move, and they come out one day and the U-Haul's gone. And they report it stolen, and it turns out that U-Haul had repoed it. So it's a weird story, and we're not quite sure what's going to happen. Jordan Bowen wrote this for Fox 13. A St. Louis couple was in the process of moving to Riverview when their U-Haul, carrying all their belongings, they were moving, everything they owned was in the U-Haul. It disappeared from a hotel parking lot in Clearwater. Now they say they've discovered that U-Haul took it. And U-Haul says that they thought it was abandoned and it simply dumped out all the stuff that was inside of it. Now, the man and his wife packed all their possessions into a U-Haul and drove it down from St. Louis to Tampa at the end of August. They couldn't move into their new home until the first weekend of September. So they had a place to stay, but not a place to put all their stuff. So they paid to park the truck in the parking lot at a Holiday Inn in Clearwater. So the truck is parked someplace other than where they are, but they say they paid to put the truck there. So that means that the people who owned that lot charged these people and presumably would have known that that vehicle was not abandoned there. When they went to retrieve the truck on September 4th, the truck was gone. It had everything they owned inside, from clothing to furniture to irreplaceable family mementos. They reported to the county sheriff's office that the truck was stolen. And the county sheriff took a report and actually took steps in an attempt to get the word out about this missing truck with all of the belongings that these two people had on this earth. On Wednesday, U-Haul contacted the couple one day after Fox 13 television reported the story in the first place. And according to the man, the company told him they thought the truck was abandoned, so they picked it up. They then emptied out all of the couple's belongings and transported them to a dump. So the belongings went to the dump. The truck went back into inventory. It's unclear how the mix-up could have happened, though, because Brown did have the truck rented for that time period. And this is the thing. Somebody says, hey, there's a U-Haul here, and we think it's abandoned. So if U-Haul gets that phone call, they can check their records and go, oh no, it's being rented by this couple. They've got it for a few more days. To suggest that they think it's abandoned mid-rental would seem to be a problem. So now the family is working with the company to see if they can recover any of their items. Meanwhile, the couple has moved into their home, but they don't have any of their stuff. All of our furniture, all of our kitchenware, all of our clothes, Brown told Fox 13. It's been tough, especially tough for my wife. It's been emotional for her. It is for me too. Now, here's the thing. This story references the previous story that was run by Fox 13, which was headlined, Couple Hopes to Find U-Haul with All Their Belongings Stolen Outside Clearwater Hotel. So they thought somebody just stolen the truck. They reported it to the police, and this is where it gets interesting. They reported it to the police, and the police were acting on this as if it was a stolen vehicle because it says in the story the truck is 26 feet long, features the state of Minnesota with a picture of a Viking ship. The truck's registration number is, and they give it to you, the number can be found on the metal trim on the top of the rear driver's side of the truck. And then the person who rented it says neither U-Haul nor their home insurance companies in St. Louis and Riverview will cover the theft, leaving them to hope that it's somehow found. That sentence implies that the man had already called U-Haul and said the truck was stolen. Can you guys help us? Do you have insurance? They said no. Now, it's possible that he deduced that some other way. But if he called them and said the truck got stolen, can you guys help us? And they didn't say, oh, we're the ones who snagged it, that would appear to also be a problem. But you'll notice that the last sentence of the story, as I read it to you, says, anyone with information is asked to call the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office with a phone number. The implication there is that the police took the report and believed that the vehicle had in fact been stolen. So the question I have is, does U-Haul make it a practice to go out and recover abandoned vehicles during the terms of the rental without contacting the renter? Because I mentioned this yesterday. I've rented U-Haul trucks on many occasions, and they get my name and my phone number, and I always give them my cell phone number so that if they were to call me, they'd get me. So when I'm driving the truck, I've got the cell phone clipped to my belt, and the cell phone goes with me everywhere. So if they were to hear a story and say there's a U-Haul abandoned in this parking lot, which we'll get to that in a second, U-Haul should go, oh, it's rented by this person. Here's their phone number. Let's call the number and see what happened, especially because the rental is still active. Okay? There's a start date and an end date. They ask you what you're going to do with the truck. And by the way, it's another thing is they always ask you, are you going to bring the truck back to us or do you drop it off someplace else? One of the things about U-Haul is they track where their vehicles are at all times because the trucks are their inventory. So if you say, I want to pick up a truck in Detroit and drop it off in Miami, they will then take that into account as they figure out what the company is doing, and they will actually let the place in Miami know, hey, there's a truck that should be entering your inventory right about this time. But if you say, I'm going to bring it right back to here, they go, oh, okay, the truck is in inventory, it leaves, but it comes right back in. So if the people said, we're in St. Louis, renting the truck from here, but we're driving it to Florida, and we'll be returning it in Florida, when the truck shows up in Florida, that shouldn't be a surprise to U-Haul because they should have the itinerary of the person who rented the truck. And so when the truck shows up where it's supposed to show up during the term of the rental, you wonder why anybody would think that truck was abandoned. Now, let's back up because most people have figured out what probably happened here. The people go into the hotel where the truck was eventually parked and say, we would like to park our truck in the corner of your lot. Can we do that for a period of time? Presumably, the hotel says, yes, but we're going to have to charge you. Fine, we'll pay you. So the truck gets put in the corner of the lot, and so the hotel knows that it's there because someone paid to put it there. What probably happened is somebody who didn't get the memo on that comes into work one day and sees a U-Haul truck over there. They go through their registry, and none of their guests are driving a U-Haul. So they go, oh, that's kind of weird. That truck is sitting there. They go, hey, what's the deal with that truck? And somebody goes, it's been there for a couple days. Oh, that's weird. Come in the next day, it's still there. Check the registry. It's not. And so for whatever reason, someone who didn't know that the truck was put there and was being paid to put there called the police and said, hey, look, we got an abandoned vehicle here. It's a U-Haul rental truck. It's been sitting there. We don't know who owns it. Now, before that phone call got made, somebody should have asked the higher-ups just in case. Even so, before anybody comes to get the truck, U-Haul, you would think, should have checked their records. Okay, who rented it? Where did it come from? Where is it going? And do we have the phone number for the people who rented it? We can find out if they have, in fact, abandoned it because they had paid to keep it further. And so if the rental period had expired and it's sitting there now several days after that, U-Haul would have a better argument. But here they haven't got much of an argument if that man is correct by saying we had it rented past the date that they snagged it. So there's your big problem. And of course, the question is, what are your damages? And your damages are going to hinge a lot on what was in that truck. But the real problem is we all have things that we value more than their replacement cost. Okay? So in other words, if someone were to steal this sword, I can go onto eBay and find a World War I naval officer's sword and find out how much it costs and buy it. Or I can say that's what that sword is worth, cash value. Problem, of course, is this particular naval officer's sword belongs to a family that I know, and it was one of their ancestors. The blade is inscribed with the man's name. And so, can you replace that? On one level, yeah, I can get you another naval officer sword that looks just like it. Sure. Is it the same? No. And so this gets us back to whether things are fungible, whether one thing equals another thing, right? I owe you $10. I can give you one $10 bill, 2 5s or 10 ones. It's $10. You've been made whole. However, one World War I naval officer sword is not the same as another if that one's got sentimental value. And so walk through your house. Look around your house right now if you're in your house. Look around your house right now at all the things you've got and what the value is of them. So you'll have to take my word on this, but right over here I've got a framed, signed poster of Robbie Robertson, one of my favorite musicians of all time. And it's signed, framed, it's mounted, and it looks beautiful right here on the wall, okay? If someone were to steal that picture, I'm pretty certain that I could go out and find another poster of Robbie Robertson. I could probably find the exact same poster and replace that poster. But I got that poster back when he was touring to support his first solo album, and I was working at a radio station, and it says, "Thanks for all your support, Robbie Robertson." Now, I could probably find another one, but it wouldn't have the same backstory for me. There you go. So this stuff that we have, much of it is irreplaceable. The problem, of course, that we have is courts can only award money damages in a situation like this. And how much is all your stuff worth? Now, I did see a follow-up on the story where they said that they have managed to find some of their stuff. Apparently, they ran back out to the dump and found some of it. But they said that they found things like several boxes of stuff that they knew they had. They found some of this stuff all in one box, meaning the other stuff is gone or it was wrecked. Sitting outside at a dump for a few days will age stuff pretty badly. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but it seems that mistakes were made probably by the hotel where they had parked this thing, and also by U-Haul, who should have recognized that it was in the middle of a rental. It was where it was supposed to be geographically. And the question is, did they try to call the guy? Because they should have had his number. So Terrell, Scott, and Donna all sent it. Thanks a lot. From Fox 13 News, U-Haul repossesses couple's rental, believing it was abandoned at a hotel, and then dumped all the belongings inside. Questions or comments? Put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. If you think nobody cares about you, try missing a couple of payments.